today we will study about the transportation part of the life process. Okay. Transportation part of the life process. So, transportation, why it is required? Huh. See, microorganisms will be very simple in nature. So, they don't require separately the transportation system to supply the food and oxygen. Whereas, whenever it's a complex system like human beings, so whatever the oxygen we take in, it has to be distributed inside that. Okay, so there we have the respiration. And whatever the food that will be digested, that has to be transported to every cell. So for that, we need a separate transportation, right? So we need the separate transportation because our system is complex in nature. Okay. So transportation in the human beings. So how is the food, oxygen transported to every cell? Through the blood. It is transported through the blood. Okay. So first we will study about the blood, then about the heart. Because heart is the one which will pump the blood. Heart is the one which will pump the blood. So we will study about the blood and the heart, how it functions, or about the blood vessels, all these in this transportation part. Okay. Why late?
How much left?
Okay, go first. The transportation, right now, the transport system of human beings, human being is also called the circulatory system. Circulatory system. Circulatory system. It consists of blood vascular system, and lymphatic system. And the lymphatic system. Next, blood vascular system. Write down. Blood vascular system has three components. That is blood vessels, and heart. So blood is the one which carries the oxygen, digested food to every cell, and the unwanted material or undigested material which will be there in the cells will be also transported from the blood itself. Whereas the blood vessels are the one which transports the blood. Okay, or blood flows through the blood vessels. Then comes the heart. Heart is the one which pumps the blood. Okay. Then right, lymphatic system includes lymph vessels and lymph nodes. So blood consists of what and all? It consists blood. First we have the plasma. Then we have blood cells, that is red blood corpuscles, white blood corpuscles, and platelets. Red blood corpuscles, then you have white blood corpuscles, and the platelets. We have the platelets. So blood, what are the components we see? First one is the plasma, then we have a red blood corpuscles, white blood corpuscles, the platelets. So what is the plasma? It is mainly made up of, it is very thin in nature and it is like pale white in color. Okay. And plasma is the one in which the blood corpuscles are suspended inside them. Inside the plasma only, these blood corpuscles will be suspended inside that. That means, for example, if you take a gel candle, you will consider a gel candle. In that, you will see some decorative items they would have put inside that. Where they will put inside the gel, you can see the different components, right? Similarly, in the blood also, plasma is the one. It's a very thin in nature. It mainly consists of the water content and it is pale white in color. And these red blood corpuscles, white blood corpuscles, platelets are suspended inside that. Okay, these corpuscles and platelets are suspended inside that. They are inside that. Okay, so that is the plasma. And what does the plasma contains? They include, they have the proteins in that, salts in that, nitrogenous waste in that. All these will be in dissolved form. It will be there in the plasma. Okay. So what is the nitrogenous waste in the cell? That may be absorbed by the plasma. From there, it will reach the liver or the kidney like that. Okay. So it contains the plasma. It's very thin in nature. It is pale white in color, and all these red blood corpuscles, white blood corpuscles, platelets, all these are suspended inside the plasma. Okay, inside the plasma. And nowadays we see that whenever they want to give the blood, they give only the required component. They will tell, right? They are made into 4 parts. It can help 4 patients. If one bottle blood, if they give, it will help 4 patients like that, because they can separate now the plasma, red blood corpuscles, white blood corpuscles, and platelets. Who requires the what? They will give only that component in the blood. Dengue and all is there, they require only the platelets, so they give only that, right? Like that. Okay. So these are the things what we see. And next comes the red blood corpuscles. So red blood corpuscles, what it will do? It will it contains the red pigment. Correct? Red blood corpuscles. It contains the red pigment, which is the hemoglobin. And hemoglobin is the one which carries the oxygen from lungs to every cell. Hemoglobin is the one which carries the oxygen from the lungs to every cell. Where what happens there? The cell will absorb the oxygen and then glucose will be converted into the ATP. Correct? So first the food will be digested in the small intestine. It will be absorbed by the villi, and that from the villi it passes through the bloodstream. Correct? From the bloodstream it reaches every cell. Okay, that glucose has to be converted into energy. How it is converted? So the oxygen which is absorbed by the lungs, it passes through the hemoglobin to every cell. From the hemoglobin, it will reach the every cell. So because of that, it combines with the oxygen there and energy is released. Okay, in the form of ATP, which the cell can use. Next comes the white blood corpuscles. White blood corpuscles, why we call that name? Because it is white in color and it is like our soldiers. Okay, it is like our soldiers. Whenever it sees some foreign body inside that is like microorganisms like that. So what it will try to do? It will try to fight against that. Okay, and even that white blood corpuscles, some they will actually die. Correct. So it is like our soldiers who fights for the country. So white blood corpuscles are the one which will help to kill the microorganisms or any foreign body which enters our also. And we observe that in the same environment, many people will be there, but few will be affected by the cold or some disease. Not everyone. What is the reason? Because even though it enters the body of the person, if his has a high immunity. So that microorganism may be killed. So we will not know whether we have got that microorganisms or that. But some, if the person is having less immunity, maybe for him they may get that problem, flu or anything, cold and like that. Because of the, if they have the less immunity, it can happen like that. Okay, because microorganisms will be everywhere. In the air, it will be there. It will be there. We can't avoid that. But if you have a high immunity, so your body can fight against it. So that white blood corpuscles helps in that. What about the platelets? What does it do? Correct. It clots the blood. So whenever there is some injury, what happens? After some time, blood will clot. Because of that, the blood will not flow outside. Correct? It will not go out. So it helps in clotting the blood. If some person is having some disease or something like that, they have less platelets. Then what they will do? They will inject the platelets to do that. Okay. And another thing, hemoglobin, we studied about the hemoglobin, right? Hemoglobin is the one which will absorb the oxygen, Okay. The carbon, it also supplies the carbon dioxide, right? What it will do, the carbon dioxide produced in the process of producing the energy, that will be passed on to the through the blood, and it is passed on outside by through the lungs. Okay, so it can also observe the carbon monoxide. They would have heard like some laptops or some, there was some burning before any accident happens. The person being killed, die, he will die. Those things would have, yeah. That is because of, many times because of the carbon monoxide, because carbon monoxide is lighter than carbon dioxide and oxygen. So hemoglobin can easily absorb the carbon monoxide easier than the oxygen also. Okay. So what happens then? It absorbs the carbon monoxide, which is poisonous in nature. So because of that, the person may die. Okay. And when carbon monoxide is produced, means whenever carbon is not able to completely burn, because if it is not getting complete oxygen or if it is not completely burned, then only we'll get carbon monoxide. Otherwise, we usually get carbon dioxide. Okay. So they tell, right, some electronic component they had put for long hours, some gas had been released or burst, because of that the person have died. Maybe the burst may be not the big one, but because of the gas produced, if it is more carbon monoxide is produced, because of that also person may die. Okay. So carbon monoxide will have more affinity. Hemoglobin has more affinity to carbon monoxide when compared to carbon dioxide and oxygen. Okay. Then these questions they will ask MCQ part and all. Okay. These questions. So we'll write few things about this. First one is the plasma. Write down about this plasma. It is made up of water with various substances dissolved in it. With various substances dissolved in it. These include proteins, salts, glucose, okay, and nitrogenous components. Nitrogenous compounds. Okay. So what does it mean? Plasma, protein, salts, glucose, all this which is digested in the small intestine, right? It is absorbed in the belly and it is passed through the blood to the cell. So it is passed through the plasma. That is the meaning here. Okay. So protein, salts, glucose, all these, it is passed through the plasma into the every cell. And nitrogenous waste from the cell, it will be passed on to the plasma to the kidney, maybe like that. Okay, so mainly it contains the water content. With that, it will also has the proteins, salts, and glucose, all these in the dissolved matter. And red blood corpuscles, white blood corpuscles, and platelets are suspended inside this plasma. Okay. Blood cells are suspended in the plasma. Then Lakshit written. Then everyone. Red blood corpuscles. What? They actually, it will be something like this actually, red blood corpuscles. They call it as corpuscles. Okay, so RBCs, that is red blood corpuscles, transport oxygen to the cells. To the cells. So why red blood corpuscles are white? Because of the hemoglobin pigment. It contains the hemoglobin pigment which is red in color. Okay. Which one? White I told. When? No, I told white. Okay. Okay. White blood corpuscles. Okay. White blood corpuscles are white in color and are white in color. Okay. They help to destroy foreign particles foreign particles and germs in the body. Next comes the platelets. Okay, platelets, they help in clotting the blood. They help in clotting the blood at the site of injury. Okay. Another write note, few things which is required. Plasma of blood helps to transport hormones, helps to transport hormones from their place of synthesis to the target organs. Synthesis to the target organs. Organs. To the target organ. So, any examples of hormones you can tell? One is growth hormones will be there. Then, then estrogen, yeah. Then testosterone, correct. So all these are the hormones. See, hormones will be secreted. How much hormones will be secreted? Many times it depends on the genes. That is, example, you have the growth hormones. We observe that most of the time the person is tall or the short. It depends on their parents, right? Because so hormones secreted, the growth hormones will decide whether the person is tall or short, like huge, or he's small, like that. So we that hormones, how much hormones will be secreted, that will depend on the his genes, DNA. Okay, it depends on the DNA of that person, and hormones will be secreted in one place, but the target organ will be the other in the other place. Correct. Hormones will be secreted in usually in one place, whereas the target organs will be the in different places. So because of that hormones, how much it will be secreted, depending on that, the growth may be there. So many other factors also. The metabolism depends on the hormones, right? Thyroxine hormones, right? Like this. So how much hormones will be secreted? That depends on the most of the times on the genes, one thing. And hormones will be secreted from the glands in the one place, whereas the target organs, the hormones which work on the organs, we call it as target organs, that will be in the other place. So that hormones will be passed on or transported through the blood. That is plasma of the blood. Okay, that hormones will be transported to the target organs through the plasma of the blood. Okay. Next one. Blood maintains pH value. pH of the body. Okay. It helps in maintaining the pH of the body. It helps in maintaining. Blood helps in maintaining of pH of the body. Okay. pH means it will tell actually what is whether it's acidic, basic, like that. The pH value will actually tell whether that any component, anything is there, if whether it basic in nature, neutral in nature, or acidic in nature. It is very important value, pH value. Most of the organisms, they will have the pH like around the neutral, that is around 7, between like 6.5 to 7.5, like that, in that range. pH should not change drastically, actually. If it changes, actually the person will die, and it doesn't happen simply like that. pH value will not vary much. Okay, maybe see, if a person is getting very acidic, or maybe if he is eating too much of masala thing or some other changes in the body, the pH may vary. Then what happens? Actually, the bones will have calcium, right? that will actually that calcium will reach the blood to change its pH like that. Okay, it's so much important. So pH value, neutral is 7, and the pH value of water is also 7. Okay, that is why how much ever you eat, drink water, no, it will not affect. And if you drink the cold drink, sometimes you may get cold, right? Or if you drink something else, you may get like body may become heat and all. But water, if you drink the water, it doesn't, like, you will never get cold or heat. Maybe because of the change in that cold water, if you drink, it happens. But normal water, if you drink, usually it will not cause any cold or heat in the body, because the pH of the water is neutral, that is 7. Okay, and the most of the organisms pH value will be within 6.5 to 7.5. That is the range. pH value will tell about whether it is acidic in nature or the basic in nature. So if anything is more acidic, it will be less than 7. Okay, if the pH is more than 7, then that component will be basic in nature. So that to maintain that pH level also, blood will help in maintaining the pH of the body. Huh? Yeah, most of them it will be neutral only. pH, even I don't know, I'll just check on that. Okay. Yeah, acid bases will study, right? There you will know more about that. How to do that. Huh. Okay. Next about the heart. Huh. Okay. Next. Write few things, then we study about that. Okay, it is a muscular organ that plays the role of a pump, or it pumps the blood, you can write like that, in the circular system, in the circulatory system. Next, the size of the heart. The size of the heart is as big as our fist. Human heart has 4 chambers. It has 4 chambers. The 4 chambers are meant to prevent the mixing of oxygenated blood from the deoxygenated blood. Okay, so heart is what? It is a muscular organ. It is mainly made up of the muscles, right? It is a muscular organ, and size of the heart is, they say, as big as your fist. So what is your fist? That will be the size of the heart, and it contains the involuntary muscles. Involuntary muscles means what? Yeah, cardiac muscles, which is involuntary. What does it involuntary muscles means? It is the heartbeat. It is not in our control. Okay, it is not in our control, and it pumps the blood. Right, it pumps the blood. So human heart consists of 4 chambers. Right, it consists of 4 chambers. Whereas the fish and all contains how many chambers? 2 chambers. Okay, fish contains 2 chambers. So 4 chambers, because the oxygenated blood and deoxygenated blood will not mix because it is a 4 chamber heart. The oxygenated blood and deoxygenated blood will never actually combine. Okay, so it mainly prevents from mixing of oxygenated blood and the deoxygenated blood. Okay, and it is a double circulatory system. Inside the heart, it is a double circulatory system. What does mean the double circulatory system, Rohit? Huh. So actually, blood will flow into the heart 2 times in its one cycle. So we call it as a double circulatory system. Okay. So first, heart is a muscular organ, and the size of the heart is equal to the size, they say, as big as our fist. Okay, and it contains the cardiac muscles, which is involuntary. Involuntary means what? We cannot control that. As how we can control our hands and legs muscles, we cannot control that. So it's an involuntary, and it contains the 4 chambers. Because of the 4 chambers, it will prevent the mixing of oxygenated blood and the deoxygenated blood. That is, oxygenated blood and deoxygenated blood will never combine together. It will never happen. Okay. They will never, by chance also, it will not mix. That's what he is trying to tell. It is like that. Okay. And it is having double circulatory system. That means the blood will flow 2 times into the heart in one cycle. In one cycle, it will flow 2 times. Okay, that is the meaning. So why oxygenated blood and deoxygenated blood should not combine? Why it is made like that? Huh. Okay. Then see, you would have heard about warm-blooded animals and cold-blooded animals, right? So, cold-blooded animals means their temperature depends on the temperature of the environment. Okay, frog, and also it's a cold-blooded, they say, right? So, as the temperature around the surrounding increases, it increases. It decreases means it decreases. Whereas the warm-blooded animals means the temperature of the blood will be constant. Outside it may be more or less. Our body temperature will be constant. If you see in the thermometer during the cold day or hot day, our body temperature will be almost a constant, right? Maybe 0.5 degree here and there. That is also less, I think. So almost a constant we will have it, right? So those type of animals or organisms where the blood temperature is constant, right? They call it as warm-blooded animals. Okay, so we are also warm-blooded animals. So to maintain the temperature of the body itself, we require a lot of energy. Okay, to maintain the body temperature itself, we require a lot of energy. So that is why, see, if oxygenated blood and deoxygenated blood combines, the energy will be lost. So we need lot of energy to maintain itself in our body temperature. That is why warm-blooded animals, they will most of the time they have 4 chambers, so that it will prevent the oxygenated blood combining with the deoxygenated blood. Understand? No? So on these questions they will ask in between. Like once you understand concept and write the things, right? So some questions in between they will ask, and sometimes if the paper is little bit tricky or difficult, they will ask all these questions. So you, whatever you know, you can write, even though like notes it's not there. Also, you can just know the things. You can write it. They will give marks. Okay. And what are the 4 chambers we have in the heart? Upper chambers, lower chambers, right? Upper chamber we have right atrium, left atrium, then Lower chambers, right ventricle and the left ventricle. Yeah. Shall I clear this? Write down the different chambers of the heart are the upper chambers, left atrium, left atrium, and right atrium. Right atrium. The walls, write down this, are thin to receive the blood through veins. The blood through veins. Next one, we have ventricles, that is lower chambers. We have left ventricle, ventricle, and right ventricle, and the right ventricle. They have thick walls as compared atrium. Pumping action of heart. Write down this, left atrium receives oxygenated blood from the lungs via pulmonary veins. Pulmonary veins. During this collection, left atrium relax. Relaxes. Write down this. It then contracts while the next chamber, the left ventricle expands. So that blood is transferred into it. As the left ventricle contracts, The left ventricle contracts. The blood is pumped out for circulation. For circulation in the body. It is pumped out for circulation in the body. Deoxygenated blood collected from the body enters to the right atrium, as it expands. When the right atrium contracts, corresponding lower chamber that is right ventricle dilates. Deoxygenated blood thus enters in it, which in turn is pumped into the lungs. For oxygenation. This whole process is repeated continuously. It is repeated continuously. Okay, right? So first the blood vessels. First blood vessels are the one which carries the blood. Okay. So we have the three types. One is the arteries, then veins, and the capillaries. Arteries are the one which carries the oxygenated blood. That is from the heart. Oxygenated blood is pumped into the arteries. From the arteries, it reaches every cell of the body. Again, I repeat, arteries are the one which carries the oxygenated blood from the heart to the every cell. Okay. So from the arteries, it reaches the capillaries. Capillaries are very thin vessels where it reaches every cell. Capillaries are the one with their very thin vessels where it reaches the every cell. Okay. Then deoxygenated blood. Okay, deoxygenated blood from every organ. It is passed on through the veins and from veins to the heart. Okay, veins are the one which carries the deoxygenated blood. Okay, and from every organ it is carried through the veins to the heart. So how it works? First, the deoxygenated blood. First, if you consider the deoxygenated blood, so first deoxygenated blood will reach the right atrium. Okay, it will reach the right atrium. From there, okay, to the right ventricle. From there, it is pumped down to the lungs. Okay, from there it is pumped to the lungs. In the lungs, it is oxygenated, and then it is through the pulmonary veins, it reaches the heart. Okay, through the pulmonary veins, it reaches the heart to the left atrium, then to the left ventricle. So from the left ventricle, it is pumped into the circulatory system, that is the arteries. So again, I repeat. So arteries are the one which carries the oxygenated blood. Okay, from the heart to every cell. How it is carried? Through the arteries. From the arteries, it reaches the capillaries. From the capillaries to every cell. Because capillaries are the one very thin which reaches every cell of the body. Okay. Then the deoxygenated blood from every organ, it is passed on through the veins. From the veins, it reaches the heart. Okay. So again, heart pumps the deoxygenated blood to the lungs. In the lungs, it is oxygenated. From the lungs, through the pulmonary veins, it reaches the heart. So in the heart, again, it pumps the blood to the circulatory system, that is to the arteries. Then it circulates like this. Okay, so from the veins, it reaches the which part of the heart? Right atrium. Then to the left atrium. From left atrium, it is pumped to the lungs. From the lungs, through the pulmonary veins, it reaches the heart. That is the left atrium. From the left atrium, it reaches the left ventricle. From there, it is pumped to the circulatory system, that is to the arteries. Okay, veins are the one which carries the deoxygenated blood. Arteries are the one which carries the oxygenated blood. But pulmonary veins are the only veins which carries the oxygenated blood. That is from lungs to the heart. And pulmonary arteries are the only arteries which carries the deoxygenated blood from heart to the lungs. Okay, heart to the lungs. And oxygenated blood, it is having high pressure. Okay, it will have high pressure. So arteries are usually thick. It has thick walls. Arteries will have thick walls, whereas veins carries deoxygenated blood. The pressure of the blood will be less, so they have thin walls. Okay. This is how it works.
The heart, inside the heart.
So first in the veins, veins will collect the deoxygenated blood. From there, it reaches the right atrium. Okay, from right atrium, it reaches the left atrium. So, left ventricle. Right side, it will be the deoxygenated blood. Left side, it will be the oxygenated blood. Okay, upper parts are the atrium, downer parts are called as the ventricles.
Right atrium, right ventricle.
Right ventricle, then to the lungs. From the lungs,
Comes to the left atrium.
oxygen. Oxygenated blood reaches the left. Left side always the oxygenated blood. Right side always the deoxygenated blood. Here we will end the today's class. Do not forget to subscribe the channel. If the content of this channel is useful, please like the video and share with your friends. Thank you.